On behalf of UTC, Westford, our team here, it's a real privilege to have you here, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Bill. Okay. Well, I feel very privileged to be given this opportunity by your management, and I thank them for giving me the privilege of coming here and telling you my story, my short military history. Where to begin? After the Germans were booted out of North Africa in the fall of '42, Winston Churchill and FDR, Franklin Roosevelt, met in Casablanca, Morocco, to decide what's the next steps that are going to be taken here in the European theater. And they came to the conclusion, they said the next move is we're going to take Sicily, which is adjacent to Italy, and the second objective, we're going to wipe out the 11 oil refineries in Ploiești, Romania. And that turned out to be our #1 mission for the 15th Air Force based in Italy that summer. We made mission after mission to Ploiești. And I made 5. I made 5 missions to Ploiești, which was one of the most heavily defended targets in Europe. There was over 240 anti-aircraft guns surrounding the 11 refineries. About 5 miles north of the refineries, at the base of the Carpathian Mountains, were the oil wells. And when we'd go on a mission to Ploiești, usually they had it covered by smoke. They had one of the best defense generals defending the Ploiești oil refineries that Germany could send down. And talking about flak, I came back one time with a big hole on the fuselage underneath my seat. I had a piece of flak come up one time right through the bottom with the hands on the throttles. And the flak came up and went right up through, right up through the top. Another time on another mission, on the bomb run, the crew in the back said, "Holy mackerel, the whole interior of the fuselage is all covered with some kind of liquid." We thought, oh my God, if that's gasoline, we're finished. Well, it turns out it was hydraulic fluid. And what had happened, a piece of flak had come up. Along the base of the fuselage were 5, they looked like 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch aluminum tubes that carried the pressurized hydraulics. And a piece of flak had come up and cut every one of those. And the system was under a lot of pressure, and that made it really fly around the fuselage. Our engineer, we had one of the best flight engineers you could ask for. He knew more about the plane than the pilots put together. He went down on the catwalk. Now, the catwalk was like maybe, I don't know, maybe 10 inches wide through the fuselage. He went down on that catwalk and reached over and crimped each one of those hydraulic lines so that there was still enough fluid in the accumulators. So when we landed, we had a couple brake applications, and it worked okay. So once again, we were okay. Well, a little aside, I gave a talk last October at the Collings Foundation in Stowe, Massachusetts. And there was 4 of us up on a little stage talking to the people. And the guy sitting next to me, when we mentioned Ploiești, it turns out he was a German soldier on the ground at Ploesti. I couldn't believe it. He laughed about halfway through. He got the biggest kick out of it, but it was so interesting. But Ploesti was one of the toughest targets that we went to. One of the other tough target was Wiener Neustadt, which was a Messerschmitt Me-109 factory. We went up there a couple of times, and the flak there was very accurate. We lost a lot of planes at Wiener Neustadt, but it was very the flak there was pretty accurate. We usually flew it around over the targets. We were around 20,000 feet, 19,000, 21,000, 22,000. We made one mission to Munich to bomb the railroad marshalling yards, and that was at 25,000 feet. And at 25,000 feet, the controls, because the air was so thin, it was like a mushy, you didn't get a fast reaction on the controls. It was like, well, we didn't hit much flak at Munich. We just circled around. I saw Mount Blanc, dropped the bombs, made it home okay, no problem. We had another mission, maybe you heard of Friedrichshafen, Germany, where they made the dirigibles. And Friedrichshafen is on a lake, a big lake called Lake Constance, which is on the border between Germany and Switzerland. And we all marveled at how beautiful the Alps were. They were absolutely magnificent. We flew over them many times, beautiful. But in any event, on the mission up to Friedrichshafen, we would go up the Adriatic, up the Po Valley, and then swing over to the left to get over to where Lake Constance was. Well, as we went up and we made a left to head down to Friedrichshafen. We were at about 20,000 feet. And up ahead, I could see there was a layer of flak, really, really black, right at the altitude that we were at. And I thought, oh boy, we're really going to get clobbered this time. But the lead, whoever was leading, I don't know who it was, but was leading the wing on that mission. When we got up right near the target, he veered over to the left, out of the flak, over the lake. We all dropped our bombs in the lake. But we didn't lose a plane. Another area that we went to out of Italy was southern France. We went up and did some bombing in southern France, and the flak up there was very accurate. It was the only place that after you got off the target, the flak would follow you. That was the only place that they did that. And we lost quite a few up in southern France. When they did the invasion of southern France, they sent us up to bomb the coastal installations, and they told us, they said, whatever you do on the way up, don't fly over the ships because they'll shoot at you. So we got up, we bombed the installations and got back. And one of the things that happened to me, when I was about halfway through my missions, they assigned me to new crews coming in. I would fly co-pilot on the new crew's first mission. And the one of them was on a mission up to southern France. And over the target, everything was okay. We started heading back, and all of a sudden our engines started revving way up. Then they could way down, way down. Now, I didn't know. I hadn't done anything. We didn't move any of the controls or anything. but we couldn't figure out what's making the engines go like that, you know, up and down. When we got back to our base, there was a consolidated tech representative on our base. So I asked him, I said, what do you think caused that, the engines to go like that? And he said, well, I'll tell you. There's a lot of things that happen with these airplanes that we don't know why. So that was the end of that. But we made it back okay on that one. On my last mission, see, I was flying co-pilot on my last mission. We circled the north side of the target, went on the east side, and then headed back west, which was in the direction of our base, so that we would, our bomb drop, we drop the bombs and then head right back to the base. Well, the first pilot said to me as we came off the IP, he said, I'm going in the back and take some pictures. I said, okay, I'll take it over the target. And as we headed in on the bomb run, I looked to the right, and I saw a lot of flak over to the right, and I thought, oh, gee, that's great. They think we're over there. Just about that time, I had my hands on the yoke. I went like this. Nothing happened. I went like that. Nothing happened. We had no ailerons. I thought, oh, my God. And just about that time, the nose started coming up. And I thought, geez, if we go into a stall, we're finished, because we couldn't get out of it. We couldn't straighten out. So I reached around and grabbed the leg of the engineer. He was in the top turret, tugged on his leg and pulled him down. He jumped down and got in the other seat, the pilot seat, and between the two of us, we pushed as hard as we possibly could on the yoke forward to get the nose down, and we did successfully. For a number of times we had to do that, because as soon as we release it, the nose would start coming up again. And if the usual cruising speed of the 24 was 162 miles an hour. I would see it drop down to 140, 135. I thought, Jesus, we can't have this. Well, we made it okay. First pilot got back in the seat, but here we are. Our group had veered off to the left and went down. We're up here heading back up into Germany because we can't turn the airplane. If you know about flying, if you push on the rudder, you skid, but you go in the same direction. It doesn't turn without ailerons. So we kept figuring, how are we going to turn this thing? Here we got a 4-engine plane. we can't turn it. Well, we decided to turn the left. We'll pull back on the left engines, push up on the right engines, which we did, and then we'd bounce the nose up and down like this around. And about every time we do that, we get about a 3-degree turn to the left till we turn to about, it took us about maybe 20 minutes to get turned in the direction of our base. And everything was okay. The engines were all right. We got back to the base, but as we approached the base, the tower said, tell your crew, give your crew the option to bail out before you attempt to come in, which we did, and all the crew said, no, we don't want to bail out, we'll stay with you. Well, we did about a 45 to 50 mile straight-in approach to the runway, and fortunately, there was little, if any, wind. So we came right straight in, and we landed okay, which we were very happy about. We got out of the airplane, and looking at the wing, there was about a 6-inch slit. It was like 6 inches by 2 inches, and something had come up and just cut the aileron cable. Thank God that it didn't come up a little closer to a gasoline tank, because the tanks, of course, were in the wings. But we looked at it and we said, yeah, that's what cut the cable, that little piece of flak. Okay, that's about it. Thank you very much.
Presentation for you.
Holy jeez.
This is a American flag that was flown on the U-2.
Wow.
And I'll read the certificate for you. See all, fear none is the unit motto. 1st Expeditionary Reconnaissance Squadron Project Olive Harvest. If you Google that, you'll see that's kind of near where you used to be. Presented to 1st Lieutenant Ted Rogal, 451st Bomb Group, United States Army Air Force.
Wow.
Let it be known, this American flag was flown on 11 July 2017 aboard a U-2S high-altitude reconnaissance aircraft. This flag flew to an altitude greater than 70,000 feet with Captain Christopher Slab Pace, a U-2S pilot for the 1st Expeditionary Reconnaissance Squadron. Thank you for your dedication and service to our nation. Signed, Captain Christopher D. Pace, 1st Expeditionary Reconnaissance Squadron. Sir, on behalf of the group here and our folks that are downrange that had this flown for you, and our customer, the Air Force and the warfighter that we support, we cannot thank you enough for your dedication and your commitment and what you did for us and our nation. Thank you so much.